Hi again. My name is Sakshi Jain Ajmera, and a very warm welcome to everyone to the world of telepathy and animal communication. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be a very different session. There's going to be very limited presentation, and it's going to be like we'll do a fun exercise in this session as well. Before I start, I would just want to ask everyone how many here have a pet or have had a pet in the past.
We had a pet recently about whom Sakshi saw. Before that, no.
Okay. Someone else also raised their hand.
Please go ahead. I cannot. Yeah, Indu ma'am and Ashlesha Dere have raised the hands. Ashlesha Dere is a friend of Sakshi, right? Or is it Rakesh? She probably.
Rakesh sir's colleague.
Okay. All there. So please go ahead, Ashlesha. You being a guest, let's hear from you first.
Yes, sir.
You have a pet or you had a pet?
I had a pet. I have a pet at home, and I am a feeder and rescuer, so I have many on the
how
road.
Lovely. Okay, chalo, good. we.
Indu ma'am has raised the hand.
Yeah, Indu ma'am has also raised her. Where is she now? Anyway, we'll start. So I'll just
Sakshi, just give me one small thing. Dilip Trivedi wanted to say something, right? I saw the thing right now. Dilip sir, please unmute yourself, Dilip. And
no, not really, sir. I think it must have been by mistake.
Okay, so Sakshi, it's all yours. In my case, Sakshi, my daughter has just rescued a cat when we were in the house. So I think I have answered your question. Now go ahead.
Okay, so we'll just get into a slight presentation. Yeah, I'm just going to share my screen now, Uncle. Just let me know if it's visible to everyone. Is it visible?
Yes, we can. At least I can see that.
Okay, then everyone else can see it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So as I said, my name is Sakshi Jain Ajmera, and I'm a telepathic nature and animal communicator. In simple terms, that means I can talk to animals, I can understand their feelings, emotions, and I can also talk to plants, trees, land, all of that. So any and everything that's got to do with nature. Now, what is telepathy and how does it work? It's very simple. When we think of a friend and, or we've thought of a friend for 2-3 days and then that friend ends up calling you and you just be like, I was thinking of you and, you ended up calling me, you live 100 years and all of that. That was nothing but you sending a simple telepathic message to your friend that, you know what, I'm thinking of you and, I'm thinking of you and I sent you a telepathic message. So in simple terms, this is what telepathy means. Okay. Is everyone okay to do a little exercise with me to just experience telepathy? I'm sure we all have experienced telepathy in our lifetime, but shall we do it now? Is it okay?
Yes.
Yeah, we can. But excuse me, there is nothing on the screen right now.
Yeah, I will get to that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a frequency. So I don't know what everyone's energy levels are at this point. Okay, so I'm going to play a frequency that will just help me neutralize everyone's energy levels, and then we are all vibrating at one particular frequency. After that, I will send you guys a telepathic message. Okay. And it can be anything. It can be an object. It can be a color. It can be, a feeling that I make you feel. It can be absolutely anything. Okay. And then you all tell me what you all received. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to play that frequency. I'll play it for half a minute. Maybe just close your eyes and let that frequency sink in.
We do not hear anything. You have to unmute yourself, I think.
I'm unmuted only. Can you not hear anything now?
So no, I don't hear anything. And everyone is hearing something? Because
No.
I
Even
don't.
I
No, I am
can't.
not able to hear.
Even I
So,
can't.
so I see that your screen is, you have to unmute too.
Your screen
So
is
your
not
screen is
on.
on. Yeah, the screen is muted
Okay, 1 second.
because you are on
I'm gonna,
two screen.
okay. I'm gonna stop presenting now and I'm gonna go back to the link. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'll play now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Better.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yeah. We can hear now.
Now. All right, now I'm gonna send everyone a telepathic message, okay? And then you all tell me if you guys got anything. I don't want you to think. I don't want you to second guess anything. The first thing that comes to your mind, tell me that, okay? Okay, I'm sending you all a message now. Y'all can like maybe put it in the chat box what y'all receive. Anyone's getting anything?
I just got number 5. I don't know.
Anyone else?
Maybe a bunch of flowers or tinkling something.
What color?
Golden.
Okay, interesting. Anyone else? There's no right or wrong answer. So if anyone's worried that they'll have a wrong answer, there's no right or wrong. No one else received anything?
I am not sure if I have received the message.
No, I'm pretty sure you must have. Just don't overanalyze or overthink it. Just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Nothing specific.
Okay, so I'll tell you all what I was sending. Okay. So both the ladies who answered were absolutely correct. I was sending you all 5 apples in a golden bowl.
Oh my God. Really? That's strange.
But
I know.
It just came in my mind. 5. I don't
Exactly.
know.
This is what telepathy is, and we'll talk about it further. So, sorry.
But how to verify? Sorry, you will.
I can't hear you.
Am I audible?
We cannot hear you.
I'm audible?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask how to verify what you are sending by telepathy.
Just like I said, that you just tell me whatever y'all are getting, and I had sent y'all a table and a bowl and particularly 5 apples and also 2 bananas. So if anyone would have gotten either or, because there are so many people, there are different energies, people will pick on different things. So like she picked up on the color golden, okay? Then she picked up on the number 5. So different people pick on different things.
I think Pankaj is asking how would Pankaj know, for example, whether Sarita ma'am or Indu ma'am picked up the same thing which you sent. Am I right, Pankaj?
Yes, yes. So I just wanted to know that how we could verify that what you sent by telepathy. I mean, Sakshi sent by telepathy.
Okay, that's a question we'll come back to later. Is that okay?
Sure, sure, sure.
Fair,
Thank you.
fair
Thank
enough.
you.
Continue, please.
Thank you.
So we'll go back to the presentation now. Okay, so we experienced what telepathy is and how we kind of communicate. Now we'll touch upon a very small, tiny aspect of telepathy, which is telepathic animal communication. Okay, so now for people who have pets here, and there's a lovely lady who does rescuing and feeding of animals as well. So you understand when you're probably lying down on a Sunday afternoon and you're just about to go off to sleep, and you suddenly feel like, shit, I need to change the water bowl of my dog or my cat, right? That message, that constant need, means that your animal is telling you that, please come on, move, I'm really thirsty, but the water is dirty. Okay, similarly, when the lady who's rescuing, whenever she's feeding an animal, every time she's giving out the food, she'll feel like something feels off with the animal today, something feels off with either the cat that I'm feeding or the dog that I'm feeding, or like something is going to go wrong. So that is basically the animal trying to communicate with you. It's just that what happens is we have a very big layer of self-doubt, negative self-talk, lack of confidence, over logic, overthinking about one particular thing. Like when I was asking everyone what did they get, a lot of people got into that zone that, oh, what if the answer that I'm giving is not right, or what if it's wrong? But there is no right and wrong in telepathy. I can send you 3 different messages at once, and you'll pick out, just like the only reason I sent out different objects, so that you could pick out one object, someone else would pick out another object. So yeah, just like that, animals also communicate with us in different ways. What are the different ways that animals communicate? Feel, like they'll make you feel a particular thing. Like if your animal is feeling cold, then suddenly you will, you'll have this constant like feeling that, oh, why am I suddenly feeling cold? It's not cold. It's not too cold outside. What is it that is making me feel cold? And then you'll realize that, oh, maybe your dog or cat, maybe they need a blanket. Smell. This is a very interesting story. I'll also give you all a lot of case studies if that's okay. Smell. So there was a recent case that I handled where there was a perfume that the pet parent was using and the animal hated it. So every time the pet parent got ready for office, the animal would want to get out of the room. And when we did the session, the animal made me smell something, like when bread goes really stale, it smells so much. So we were trying to figure out what that particular smell is. Turned out that this pet parent had changed the perfume, and the smell was dog's representation of the perfume. The pet parent obviously is not using a perfume which smells like stale bread, right? He's using a perfume which smells really nice, but then that was the pet's representation. So the pet made me smell that. Then again, vision, like how I was sending y'all objects. So that was a visual communication via telepathy. Taste. Now, taste communication usually happens via when animals are a little unwell. That is when I really know what is the degree of the animal being unwell. When the animal is trying to tell me something and the animal says that the taste in my mouth is really bad, I get that taste in my mouth. So I know that either the animal needs the change in medication or the animal needs some food that can change the taste in the mouth. Emotions. Just like how when I am telling you a story and there are certain stories that, touch your heart, and while listening to the stories, you tend to tear up. That was my way of making you feel a particular emotion. That will also be the animal's way of making me feel that emotion. I'll give you all an example of a very recent animal abuse case that I handled. The pet parent kept on saying, the animal is very aggressive and keeps on biting me, and like I'm the father and how can he bite me and this and that. When we connected with the animal had the most kindest and the most gentle energy. Okay. And it was very difficult for me to believe that this child can be aggressive. But when we dug in a little as to why this pet is doing a particular thing again and again, first the pet refused to share. Now we need to understand one thing about animals is they're all very sentient beings, and the only reason we say that all pets are loyal is because they truly are. No animal will share any information with me that will bring shame or any emotion that the human relates to in a negative manner. Now, this pet did not want me to know that the pet has gone through certain abuse because of the parent's mistake. But then eventually, because he was being blamed for a behavior that is not his, he had to tell me that. And because his emotion was so strong, he made me feel an emotion of deep sorrow. So I've been a communicator for more than 5 years now. And I have very rarely cried in a session. Maybe this was probably my second session that I cried in. The sorrow was so deep that I actually started crying because the animal was feeling that particular thing. So the animal was trying to communicate and tell me that my words are failing to describe how sad I am. So these are different ways that our animal communicates with us. A very interesting question that I always get is, does telepathy only work on pets that are alive? No. Telepathy can work on pets even who have transitioned, not necessary if pets have transitioned only about 1 year, 2 year, or 5 years down the line. I have spoken to pets who transitioned about 15 years. Yeah. Like the last case that I did was 15 years old. Like the pet passed away 15 years back, and this was a mix of land and pet communication, where there was constant issues happening on the land, and they were trying to grow certain things, and they were not able to grow, and the land was constantly bringing trouble. So we had to do a land communication, and then we also had to do a pet communication. And the pet passed away as soon as the family purchased this land, and the pet was also buried over there. So we can communicate with pets, even like pets who've transitioned years back. Just like how a lot of people do, your spirit communication, your auto writing, all of that. But I only prefer talking to transition pets. Very interesting personal story I would like to share is how my pet's life purpose changed me as a person. Now, for people who have pets here, they'll understand that every pet has a particular life purpose. My pet's life purpose was to make me acknowledge my feminine side a lot more, and to make me very comfortable as a mother. So that's me and my dog Alfred, also known as Alfie. Alfie came to us in times where my family was going through something very personal, and we were all pretty shattered. So my Nana decided to get Alfie to us because he thought that there's only one thing that can bring joy in this family, which was very cute. Touchwood, we're very, very happy. And I wasn't a communicator back then, but I'd gotten in touch with another communicator, and I wanted to understand what is his life purpose, and why has he come into our life. So Alfie said that he's come here to this will answer the question where someone had asked me that how do we validate the telepathy, how do we validate the messages that what you're sending is factual or not. So this communicator that I got in touch with was somewhere in France. Okay, now she takes about 10 cases in a year, and I was lucky that mine was that one case that she took. I was earlier not very fond of kids or wanting to get married or like I didn't want to change my life. As I said, that I was not comfortable with my feminine side, and I didn't want to embrace the maternal instinct that I had, because while growing up I had a lot of cousins, and I feel like all of my love, care, affection, got over while bringing them up. So Alfie's life purpose was to make me very confident as a mother. And that was one major block in my life to get married or to have kids or anything. When I got Alfie, we were lost. We had a pet about 10 years back, but we didn't know how to care for a smaller pet. We had a big dog. So when Alfie came into my life, it changed me as a person, as in I became far more softer. I could really feel that I'm okay being a mother now, like I earlier, if I would see kids, don't judge me on this, guys, but earlier if I would see kids, I would run in the opposite direction. But after I got Alfie, my life purpose changed, where I wanted animals to interact with kids. So I started interacting with kids a lot, and I started really talking to kids, understanding how younger kids function. So that is one major change that Alfie got in me. I just thought I'd share something personal, and this I think would answer your question as well. What led me to become an animal communicator, guys? This beautiful boy again is Alfie, and it's because of him that I'm a communicator today. Again, we'll go back to a story. When Alfie was 3 months old, he developed a very weird eye ulcer and an eye infection, and he we were going to the doctor, and we were putting the drops, and we were giving him his antibiotics, and all of that was happening. But then one day, Alfie woke up, and his one eye was shut like that. So I panicked, and I literally just rushed him to the vet, where he'd also not eaten food, I'd also not eaten anything, and all of that. So the doctor kept on saying that Alfie needs to get operated immediately. And there was that one thing, when you say that you have this thing in your gut, there was that one thing in my gut that kept on telling me that no, maybe just give it 2 more days and Alfie will be fine, because he's 3 months. You don't want to put a 3-month child through sedation and operation and all of that. But when the doctor says that, oh, if you don't operate him now, then there are chances that he'll lose his eye, then you have no other option but to kind of panic and then just be like, yeah, please do whatever you have to. So we got him operated, and that's what, his eye was fine. He was okay. Again, my only purpose to get in touch with that French communicator was to understand if he's going to have this eye issue again or no. When I spoke to her about this particular operation, she told me that that operation was not needed. Alfie was constantly communicating with me that please don't put me through this, because that is what I could feel. I could feel that I don't want to put my child through this, And sadly, I didn't understand the communication back then. And I felt like, maybe it's just me being cynical, or maybe it's just me being paranoid as a pet parent, that I don't want my child to go through this. But yeah, well, it turned out to be true that he didn't want to be operated and he didn't want to go through that, and he would have been fine in 2 days, because that is the feeling that I was constantly getting. So yeah, and after that, I really wanted to learn communication so that I don't end up making the same mistake again. I didn't want to make it my profession, but it just naturally happened, and for me, only my animals are my guide. If my animal will guide me, I will follow it without a question. So when I did like just a very basic course on communication, Alfie was like, this is not going to stop here. There is more to this. I didn't realize at that time what he's talking about. But then later, when I got more deeper into this subject, I absolutely loved it and I didn't want to leave it. I changed my profession at the peak of my career, and touch wood, I don't regret even one day. I have been in this beautiful world with animals and telepathy, and it just makes me kind of believe in magic. I know, very silly line, but I mean, one has to experience it for one to understand. Can anyone develop this skill? Absolutely. Telepathy is the most simple thing that we are all equipped to do. Telepathy is something that is in us, it is within us. It's just that we now have very comfortable resources around us, like a phone, laptop, or anything, where that helps connect us to people. But telepathy is something that we are all born with. It's also like to understand telepathy, we have to unlearn everything that we have been taught. Like people here, when I was sending them an object, everyone was questioning, am I getting something? I don't know if I'm getting something. Should I be saying what I was getting? So similarly, like when we self-doubt, when we operate from self-doubt, is when we are not trusting telepathy. Telepathy is as simple as understanding how to operate your phone or your laptop or your iPad, your tablet, anything. It's as simple to navigate it. There are certain ways to deepen telepathy, of course. We played that frequency just to neutralize our energy and clear our mind. As I said, that we have to unlearn a lot of things, like the only reason telepathy is easy from human to animal and animal to human is because the animal has to peel off layers of only one human. When it comes to human, there are a lot of layers. Look at it this way, where an oyster is forming a pearl. It's a grain of sand eventually. And there is layers and layers and layers. The only difference is that turns out to be a beautiful pearl, and we turn out to be cynical human beings. To deepen telepathy, we have to learn to trust our instincts. And again, we don't need to seek validation that, if that person, whatever that person said, if it's true, if it's not true. As we explained earlier, the different ways to experience telepathy is learn to sense, learn to operate more from your heart and a little less from our mind, which is very difficult in today's world. I completely understand. Meditation is a good practice that anyone and everyone should in general follow, and enjoying the stillness. If you have already, and if you haven't, then maybe next time you see a stray dog or a stray cat, just observe that animal or any other animal. If you'll go for like a nice tiger or leopard reserve, then observe them also. They'll just sit and they'll look at things, what is happening around, and they'll not react. They'll just absorb the information that is going on around them. That is known as enjoying the stillness. Just be with that particular feeling. Don't think, oh, what am I doing sitting here? What is the outcome of me sitting here? What is the outcome of me sitting in the sun here? And all of that. This is something that I do with my husband, is I practice. So we both send messages to each other, like how we did today. We sent an object, we sent numbers, we sent feelings. So you can also practice this with your partner or any friend, or people who have pets. They can practice with your pets also. It'll be a beautiful activity to deepen the bond with your pet. These are just a few examples that, so I've worked on different cases, but I have gotten few different examples. So this particular example is of this one golden retriever who had multiple health issues, and the person who got in touch with me was obviously a non-believer of telepathy. But then the dog said certain things, and and the dog also told us what exactly needs to be treated, what exact medication will work for him, because apparently the treatment was also wrong, and they were treating the wrong part. And also there was, there were certain things that the dog was mirroring. Now mirroring is basically replicating the pet parent's emotion. So the dog was mirroring, the pet parent just went through a breakup, so the dog was mirroring the sadness of the pet parent. And because animals are not equipped to handle any other emotion than just the basic ones that they have, he fell sick. So this one is of a sick dog. This one is of a lady who got a rescue dog, and that dog had been through some sort of abuse. And this lady didn't know that there were certain things that she was doing that was triggering the dog further, which was when she was trying to touch the dog or trying to pet the dog from the top. If you go and pet the dog from the side, the dog was okay. But every time the lady would put her hand on top of the dog's head, the dog would snap. So she didn't know. She's like, I've rescued you, and I'm giving you so much love and care and all of that. And what is wrong with you? So then we realized that the dog had been through a trauma where this person who she was with earlier would slap her like this on her head. So that is why every time she would put her hand from top, the dog would not like it. This is a lost dog case. Lost dog cases are extremely interesting because there are various answers that I get from the pets or even strays. I do a lot of stray dog lost cases as well. So this lady, she lost her dog, and like the dog was showing me that, yeah, I'm sitting under a car and there's a park in front of me which has silver railings and all of that. Now the dog will tell me, the dog is not going to tell me what area the dog is in, but the dog will give me the surroundings, that, oh, I'm here and this is what is next to me. There is one fruit seller next to me, and he's giving me fruit also to eat, and all of this information the dog will give me. Dogs are so smart, even cats for that matter. Our animals are so smart. They know how far from home they are. They can tell you the exact kilometer that they are in. Like, I'm 1 kilometer away, I'm 2 kilometers away, I've crossed over very far, I've reached 8 kilometers away, and I don't know now where I am, but this is what my surrounding looks like. Then there are also certain lost dogs who aren't lost really. They actually run out of the house because they feel like, there are multiple reasons, like, oh, I'm very bored, or I can't handle the energy of the house anymore. The house is becoming a very negative place to be in. Or again, I just want to explore. A lot of cats do this. A lot of cats who are not neutered, they just run out of the house just because they want to explore. Very interesting lost dog case I'd gotten. There was this one guy who used to beat up his dog left, right, and center every day after getting drunk. Okay. Now, this guy had his wife and a daughter as well. When we connected with that dog, we were asking the dog that, do you want to be rescued? So the dog said, no, I don't want to be rescued. So we were like, why? This man abuses you left, right, and center. Why do you not want to be rescued? So he's like, if I don't take his beating, he will go and abuse his wife and the girl, and I cannot let anything happen to them. So that is why that dog was okay being beaten up and being hungry and, he would throw hot water on him and all of that. But then eventually the wife and the daughter left, and within, I think, less than 24 hours, that dog ran out of the house. And we connected with the dog again, because then the dog told us where he is and what he's up to, so that we could go and rescue him. But he said that now my life purpose with that man is over. Now he can do whatever he wants. I had to protect these two. I did that. Transition pets, like how I was explaining to you guys that I can even talk to pets who aren't alive anymore. This particular case was of this one lady. She was in this huge dilemma of, should I be putting my pet down. In fact, pets can even tell you, or even animals can tell you, if they want to be put down or they will transition on their own. That's a whole different concept, so we will not get into it now. Here I was talking to the pet while he was transitioning, and the pet very clearly told me that I am okay, you have to take care of this lady. She will have a mental breakdown the minute I pass. So before he passed, he waited. We did counseling for this lady as well. We got her some antidepressants. And the minute this dog passed, which was right, she did have a mental breakdown, but thankfully she also had her medicines in place. So our pets can take care of us even while they are transitioning or they have transitioned. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for sitting through this presentation.
Naturally, question and the reaction time.
Yeah.
Anybody has a question, just unmute and put it to Sakshi. Pankaj, I can see your raised hand.
Yeah, thank you for the great presentation. I am just asking for a discussion point of view.
Yeah.
And you talked mostly about animals, but I was just thinking that in day-to-day life we often talk about that suppose something happens to a child, suppose in US, for example, and her mother is in India, so her mother gets some quantum thing in mind that something is happening to
Quantum engagement,
her
correct.
child or something
Yes.
like that. Or in physics we have locality at a distance. This is a very important theory, that two things, they are entangled, and then physical distance does not matter. They get to influence, or they get to know about each other.
Absolutely.
So how do you look at telepathy from that perspective?
So quantum engagement is also telepathy only, like how you said that the child is sitting in US and the mother can sense that something is wrong with my child. That is the biggest example of telepathy. Mother and child, no matter how big the child gets, the mother will always be able to sense. I'll give you all an example of one of my most favorite movies. If you all have seen Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, where Jaya Bachchan senses that Shah Rukh Khan has landed and he's running and coming towards her. Right?
Yeah. In day-to-day life we often see that if someone sneezes, then we say that someone is remembering you, that's why you have sneezed or something like that. So these things prevail in society very, very deeply. And say even in the case of tsunami, we heard that cats and dogs, they had the sense that they started showing a different behavior before the tsunami came, something like that. So I think these things are related, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, in case if there's any big major event that happens, your dogs, your pets, animals, they all can sense it. Like, which is that Kaziranga, right? Every time they have the floods coming, the animals start to behave differently. And that is when the zookeepers and the caretakers know that now within 2-3 days it's going to get flooded. So that is an indication that now, we have to start preparing for safety.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ma'am, Ashlesha Dere might like to ask the question, right, ma'am? If you have, just unmute yourself and go ahead, ma'am.
I mean, I may not have a question as such, okay, but I would definitely want to share something. As Sakshi, mentioned that favorite movie name, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, it just reminded me that there is one thing that I just tease my mom is exactly the same thing she does when my brother comes home. Okay, so the moment he's, not even outside the door, he must have just entered the building and she's like, Arey, he's come. I'm like,
Yeah.
हाँ Jaya Bahaduri hai na tu. So that is, how I tease her. But most of the times, 90% of the time, that is right. Okay.
Yes.
So now coming back over here, Sakshi, what I think, animals specifically, I mean, give any kind of animals, dog, cat, or any animal, I think is the most neglected, species on the planet, most misunderstood species on the planet. Okay,
I completely
uh,
agree.
maybe all of us over here may have pets or may have some other association with animals. Okay, may not be at home, on the road, or both, vice versa. Okay, but it is important for us to understand them also. Just having a pet at home is not sufficient. This is my perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, so like you gave an example of a rescued dog. Okay, or even when we are an animal, we all are animal lovers. But even when we see a dog walking on the road, a pet or a stray, it is important for us to understand their posture, their emotions, their gesture, how they are standing before we, being animal lovers, even go and pet them. We can't just say,
Yeah,
ki,
yeah. Oh,
हाँ, I feed dogs, so I'm going to go and just straight away pet that dog. They may not like it.
yeah.
Okay, it is very simple. So we need to understand, obviously, the thing that you gave, that they alert us or they communicate with us. Now, I feed every morning and every night. I have
Hmm.
14 dogs on the road and 7 cats. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, one of them for my night feeding is so naughty and mischievous that others are terrified of him.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know if he's aggressive or what, but others are terrified because he has a habit of chasing people also. Okay.
Correct.
But whenever I go to feed him, he is so protective of me that, the building, and these are not my building dogs, these are other building dogs who are not fed over there. So I go one or two buildings here and there. So most of the times, what I have witnessed is whenever I feed him, he will always, after his food, where I feed him, no, it's a very dark lane.
Hmm.
So, and there is no light, no street lights over there. So
Hmm.
after I feed him, okay, and if he senses, that there are some strangers on the bikes who are coming in that lane or something, he will always stand ahead of me and he will not
Hmm.
let me go ahead of him, or even move from there.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I realize, okay, something is fishy. Let's just shut up and stand here and see what is going to come. Okay, so
Yeah.
that is the language that we need to understand also. Okay, we may think, here, why are you go ahead? Okay, ho gaya na khana, chalo, let me just go. But that communication is
Yeah.
also very important. It could be with pets, it could be with
Exactly.
strays, anything. But that is a way that they are
So,
signaling you that, okay, just wait, something is going to happen. Okay, let that pass,
yeah.
and then fine, you are good to go on your own. It's like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm
these
not
are very
necessarily
good
something will
signs.
happen. Sorry. What?
Yeah, no, go ahead, please.
No, I'm saying that not necessarily. Sometimes some things will happen, but like this is a
Correct,
great
correct,
example of how that dog is trying to communicate with you and also being
correct.
thankful in return that okay, you're feeding me and I'm making sure that you're okay till you don't reach your next destination. So,
True, true.
like as I was giving an example earlier that just observe an animal and you'll learn so much more. And I think that is what you're doing. And
Yes,
anyone
yes.
who deals or interacts with a lot of animals, they will be telepathically communicating with them knowingly or unknowingly.
Correct. It's only, that you have done this course and and you can recognize these signals. For
Correct.
us, we may
Correct.
not be we may not be
Exactly.
officially certified, so we may be taking time to understand these. But
But you trust
the
your instinct.
basic thing is, yes, basic thing is we just need to, like na, if you look into the eyes of the animal, or there is a phrase that animals talk to only those who know how to listen.
Correct.
Okay, that I think is absolute. That's it from my end.
It is. Yeah, it really is. It really is, because you know what? We can't have a communication with any animal where we're just like, okay, now. So how I conduct my session is, whenever I have a session, I connect to the energy of the animal 40 minutes before the actual session time. The only reason is I'm an unknown energy to that particular animal, right? Now, when that animal is talking to me, like it's like, today I've met you guys for the first time, and I'm not going to sit and talk to you about, oh, do you like the food that you eat? Why is your stomach hurting? Your mom was telling me, you fart a lot and all of that. You guys aren't going to talk to me about your personal issues openly, right? So I have to introduce my energy to the animal, where I have to be patient. I have to listen. My clients will send me 10 questions, but the animal will give me other 10 questions to ask my client. So for me, that will always be priority. What my animal wants to say.
Absolutely.
I think Sarah ma'am has
What my animal wants to hear, not exactly what I want to tell the animal.
Exactly. So for me, like, my job in a simple, very layman term is, I am like, we would have those shell phones. So it's like a hollow bone, where someone is saying something from here and I'm saying the exact same thing here. I'm not trying to interpret, I'm not trying to do anything. And I will always have the animal's voice above anyone, even the pet parent.
Amazing, Sakshi. Dr. Sarita has raised the hand. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, so you have experience with cats and dogs, and do you have any experience with other animals?
Yes, of course. So I've spoken to orangutans. I speak to horses on regular basis, because I've tied up with a stud farm. So just to make sure the horses are doing okay. I spoke to a live leopard as well. Very interesting
Oh my
story.
God, that's what my next question was. Wild
So,
animals.
yeah, so wild animals we've spoken to. There are a lot of like reserves and all of that get in touch with me, and the leopard that I had gone to a reserve, and we were sitting in the jeep, and there was this one animal, the leopard. He was just sitting in front of us, and I connected to his energy, and I was like, hey, what's up? So he just kind of showed me like a pain in his paw, a hind leg. So I went to the caretaker after the safari got over, and I asked the caretaker, does he have any pain? So he said, oh, yeah, we just vaccinated him, and all of that, and he's going through some sort of treatment.
That's great. And
Yeah.
I also read someplace that animal actually sense your anger, fear, or whether you love them or not.
Yes. So every time, like, because you also had a pet, you would know, like, every time you were probably low or feeling sad or even unwell for that matter, pets have different way of expressing. Like, if you want to be really like cuddled and all of that, your pet will come and cuddle you and, like, take care of you and like lick your face and all of that. But if you're unwell, the basic thing your pet will do is just come and touch himself next to you and go to sleep. That is your pet's way of saying that, what, I am there for you. I will take care of you.
And just wanted to tell you one incident. So my father recently passed away, like a few months ago, and he was living with my brother, and he has 3 dogs. So yeah, so he had all 3 dogs were actually, they will just come see and sit with him, with my dad, while he was sick in his room. and then leave, and then again comes it. It's like this, they were sensing that my father is sick, and probably they thought that he will not make it or something. But
Yeah.
their behavior was so different. Otherwise they will just jump around and every like go eat and run around. They were quite like aggressive. But when he was sick and he was literally dying,
Yeah.
they will just be so quiet and just sit. So
Yeah.
I thought, wow, this is the kind of sense animals have, and probably we did too, but we evolved and lost it.
Exactly. We lost it. We lost everything that. So we are always born. When we come on this planet, we've been given this beautiful gift of just being our absolute authentic self. But we get under the pressure of society, and we have to be a certain way and we have to behave a certain way. Whereas if two pets are also meeting each other, they'll meet however they are. You know, they'll not be well
Mhm.
behaved all the time, and they'll not be like, oh, I can't bark because someone will judge me and all that. They'll bark, they'll shout, they'll probably even hump each other, and then they'll just be like, okay, I'm going home.
I recall a quote by one of the well-known philosopher that more I know people, the more I love my dog.
Yeah. That is very true. In my case, as my husband tells me, that you have to start feeling bad for humans as well, as much as you feel bad for animals. But also going back to one thing that Sarah ma'am said was, when your dad was unwell and the pets would keep going in and out of the room, you will be surprised that your pets grieve much before the person is about to transition or when the person leaves. Because when the person is leaving, the pets get into like caretaking mode, that I have to take care of the family now. My most beloved person is not here anymore, and he has passed on the responsibility to me. So yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. It was so like surprised.
Hindu ma'am, you have raised your hand. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, Sakshi, it was an amazing session,
Thank you.
and I could, feel the spiritual message in your conversation. Uh, I do believe that all beings are connected. The entire creation is connected. But you put it so beautifully in words.
Thank you so much.
And yes, I'm not a, pet parent. I'm a pet grandmother. And yeah, my son, owns a beagle, and the beagle, she's the darling of the whole family.
Oh, I'm sure.
um, and I remember, we had, I don't remember the breed of the dog, but when my father was passing away, like, he was in hospital for about 5 days. He met with an accident. The dog would not eat for about 10 days. We would forcibly try to give him some milk or something. For 10 days, he didn't eat. After he passed away, he went till the cremation ground with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but what I have really understood today is that, yes, we are connected, but we have to see to it that we understand this connection.
Correct.
It's not enough to just understand it logically. It is important to feel the connection.
That's very true. Like I
And
said,
Yeah.
you have to from the
mm,
heart and little less
from the
from
heart,
the
from
mind.
the
Mm.
heart. And,
And yeah, and disbelief, yeah,
sadly,
actually it's yeah, and if you don't believe it, probably you will not feel it. You
Yeah.
have to,
yeah,
all
and
these
and I think
extrasensory perception, yeah, it comes when you actually believe in it.
Yeah.
and
Very
the
true.
first
sadly, all of us are becoming the mind person, the brain
Hmm.
persons. We are no more the heart persons anymore. I think that's the tragedy of today's world.
Yeah.
And
and I,
if we really need to bring back our own balance, our own peace, we really need to be the heart person that we are no more.
Yeah, very
Thank you
true.
so much, Sakshi, for giving this beautiful, amazing. In fact, I wouldn't hesitate to call it a spiritual session.
Oh, thank you so
And
much.
Good.
and I just one line I just wanted to add, just like Arun sir, in the very beginning, he talked about calling. What is your calling in your life? So somewhere this is also like a calling, universal calling, a telepathy kind of thing that you have with the universe or nature.
Yeah. And you have to then go with the flow without second guessing it, as we spoke, that we don't have to seek validation. That if you'll do this, what will happen? Of course, we can't be impulsive and we can't be, rogue about it. But then we just have to somewhere trust any being that you believe in, any deity, the universe, whoever. I trust animals. So
Somebody else? Sakshi, I met Sakshi only once. She had come to see my daughter, and I think a month back, my second daughter Jayanti had taken a pet from somebody, lost pet. Sakshi, when you spoke about what you did to me that day, I found it very difficult to understand, let alone accept, that it's possible to communicate to the animals. Then I did some readings, and I found that everybody who is into it said it's much more easier to communicate to an animal than to a human being.
that's true.
So then, of course, I began reading. You talked about, of course, primarily it is intuitive connection with the animals, telepathic. In your course, did they also train you some steps, or you found that your own inclination to understand them helped you much more than the training you got, or both?
So, to be honest, my training was just to unlearn everything that I had learned. My training was just to forget and just go with the flow. And the more I started trusting my instincts, the more I started trusting my gut, the more I started operating from here, is when I understood that, oh, you know what, like this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I need to do. And then I developed my own course study, and then I started practicing. And because of the animals, I started practicing Reiki healing as well for animals and now for humans, crystal healing for animals now for humans, and tarot reading. So tarot very funnily helps me navigate lost pets. So all of these other modalities that I have learned and understood is all because I followed that gut and that instinct that told me that just do this.
A second question whose answer almost we all know, but nevertheless, you found easy to communicate to the human beings or to the pets?
It depends on the humans that I'm communicating with. But always communicating with any animal is far more easier, because I feel like both, like the animal and me, we understand each other much more.
Humans are zigzag, animals are straightforward.
Absolutely. Like if an animal does not like something, I'll give you a very interesting example of my building dog. His name is Junior. He's my most favorite, and he's like full. I've spoiled him to another level. Okay. Now, every time he's in a bad mood, he'll still tell me if I'm going to him. No, when I'm walking towards him and going, he'll just send me a message that I don't feel like interacting today, and he'll start walking. So I know that I'm not supposed to go and disturb him at this point. Whereas as humans, if my husband tells me that I'm in a bad mood today, don't talk to me, I'll be like, no, you tell me what is wrong. How can you not tell your wife this? So it's very...
If others don't have a question, I have one more. This I asked to some people whom I found spiritually developed, and they gave me the answer which I accepted. Now I'm asking you, when you talk to the animals, is it that, man, what is the form of communication? Obviously, they will not speak to you in English or Hindi or Gujarati. So are they, I mean, can you explain to me, although it's difficult, I understand, the mode of communication? Do you get vibrations? Do you get feelings? Or you translate them to your language? Or what is it?
So, like, we discussed during our presentation as well, there are different ways. Like if an animal likes something, they'll tell me. If they want to, if it's related to food, they'll make me taste it. If it's related to a smell, they'll make me smell it. If it's related to a particular emotion of a particular person, that I love it when this person hugs me, so they'll give me that comfort, cozy feeling of that particular person, and there was one dog that I spoke to. He had so many Marathi words. I'm not very fluent in Marathi. I understand a few words. He threw so many Marathi words at me, and he was correcting my pronunciation also, that no, this is not how you're saying it. You're supposed to say it this way. So animals talk to me in the language that they hear maximum. There are a lot of there was one dog one dog and one cat. Okay, they were fed fish in a Bengali house, raw fish. So I now don't remember what fish is called, but that cat said something related to the fish, and that dog continued that sentence. And I don't know Bengali at all. Marathi, I still know. Bengali, I don't know at all. So I had to ask the pet parent that, do you feed them raw fish? Because this is what they are saying, and I don't know what that means.
I'm beginning to get my answer. So basically, it is words also. And
Words, also, yes. So words as well, and anything that they hear, that can also be a way to communicate.
Because once you explained to me, and I think you did that today also, that there's a problem in you talked to a pet and he told you about the problems that the owner is facing.
Yeah.
So that has to be through words. Or was it through waves?
So when we spoke about the pet parent who was going through a breakup and the dog was mirroring the sadness, he was showing me that the pet parent is sitting and really sad and sort of also getting into like a self-harm kind of a zone. And he showed me. So that's when I asked the pet parent, are you going through something personally?
Which obviously comes to the conclusion that the receiver, in this case you, has to have as sharp and a polished antenna as
Oh,
the
yeah.
Yeah. So it should not be very easy, or I do not know, for every other person to be a communicator, because it depends also on his or her own subconscious, how transparent or how reflecting it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct. And also we have to learn to make the connection, because the pets will say one thing, but like will kind of mean something else. Like, okay, one more example I'll give you. This friend of mine, her cat constantly kept on meowing and meowing and meowing. Now, this cat is known to be notorious because I've spoken to him earlier, but then he was just meowing. First, he said something about his food, and then he was trying to throw a tantrum. And, like, he's like, I want to go out and explore. I don't want to be in the house and all of that. And then later, when we dug deeper, he said that my mom needs to do some introspection. Something is going to happen where she is going to get into like a downward spiral.
Wow.
And thankfully, we warned the mother, and the mother started with whatever self-work that needed to be done. And she did not go in a downward spiral. So animals do communicate to the pet parents also.
Now, it may be a personal question, so you may avoid it. I'm absolutely sure that when you are communicating to them, they are getting some insight into your own persona. Have you noticed that?
Yes, of course. So I have to be. So my personality has become where I don't shy away from sharing anything personal, like how I gave you an example about me not embracing my feminine side, or me not wanting to be, comfortable as a mother. It's a very personal thing, but for me, I'm okay to share, because that insight is important for you guys to have, for you all to understand how my pet changed my life,
Amazing. No wonder Hindu man said it's more of a spiritual experience. Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. I mean, it is no different than the experiences I thought I have had with some of the most wonderful people I met.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sakshi.
Thank you. It was so nice of you to just, allow me to take this session and meet such wonderful people.
Rakesh, something else from you? Or Dipankar?
No, I don't have any question really.
No, nothing from my side as well, Arunji. I'm just
I
absorbing and
remember his
enjoying
his
this.
so sir, his also have telepathy, his problem. his
Which problem?
his problem that we keep on discussing,
Fish.
his problem.
Fish problem. Oh, let us keep it
His
for
is
some
also
other
an animal.
Let us keep it because that was absolutely intuitive. From a very, very mundane to so such an esoteric level, we went a problem which has not been solved so far mathematically. It came through that fish to my mind. But we shall do it some other day. So Rakesh has nothing else. Indu ma'am, you had raised the hands.
Yeah, yeah. Sakshi, just tell me, uh, have you ever tried communicating with the plants?
Yes.
Of course, I know Boss's experiment, and I know he communicated and he, experimented whether if you give poison to the plant and they react in a different way, and if you talk to them, like from that information, I talk to my plants, and I know they are doing well. But I mean, I would like to know something more about that. I mean, is talking to plants is also really, really uh, uh, effective? And I mean, what is your opinion about this?
So, a while back, I'd spoken to one of my clients who I've done animal communication for, and she just recently found out that, while we were doing the communication, she found out I talk to plants as well. And, in a very casual manner, she told me that, you know what, you'll talk to my plant or what, this one particular plant, no matter how much I water it or do whatever, it keeps on dying. So I was like, sure. I spoke to the plant, and the plant said that I've been kept in the wrong direction. So
Oh,
they just had to be moved from one side of the window to another side of the window, and the plant was okay.
okay,
So plants
okay.
also, I mean, they also, like how we have the magnetic field of the earth, right? So they have their favorite positions. That's why they'll be leaning on one side, leaning on the other side, leaning back, leaning front, depending on the magnetic field that they're
Okay. Sakshi, one more question.
in. Oh,
Have
sure.
you have you ever tried asking a particular animal or a plant, uh, why are you like this? Why aren't you a human being?
So again, that's a very broad concept, and that will get into like soul contract, your karma, a lot of other things. That's something really, really broad, and it,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
That part I understand. Okay, so but did any animal or any plant answer you in this particular way?
So I did have one animal where they were in a human form earlier for a very, very short period of time to the same family. Then they came in as a dog.
No, this is something interesting. Not, I mean,
So you know what our shastras talk about, 84 lakh yoniya jo hain.
Yeah.
So some for some
madam,
people
madam, let's not go into because 84 लाख दुनिया शास्त्र कुछ इसी different context में बोल रहे हैं. They are not talking about the lives that we have.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just interrupted because there is a very clear interpretation and explanation of what they mean when they say 84 lakh. They do not mean 84 lakh forms of life. I mean,
okay.
yeah,
No, but still, in the context that Sakshi understands,
yeah.
the animal did say that that he was, or the dog was, in a human form for some time, and then again he came back to the animal form.
I
So I
like
think
the question.
that is
Sakshi, just a moment. Indu ma'am, you raised a very pointed question. I do not know where it came from, and Sakshi has given a very intriguing answer. So it needs a lot of exploring in that. So Sakshi, just please go ahead about your experience of
So
that thing.
I'll tell you in very short, okay? Look at it as a soul. Don't look at it the physical form. Your
Right.
physical form can be anything, but the soul contract is with the family, is with that set of parents or those siblings only, right? So because the soul contract for whatever reason was not fulfilled in that particular physical form, the soul came in another physical form.
Right.
Sakshi, I would be very interested to know if you recall what was the exact discussion, if you recall, which happened between you and that plant or animal, I forgot what, with regards to his or her being in the human form earlier.
So again, uncle, like I said, no, it's more of a soul contract. Now, I will not want to get into too many personal details also, but certain things happened, and the human physical form had to be let go, but the soul had to come back in a different form, in a much stronger form. Okay, now we feel as humans we are the strongest, but we are not. When it comes to certain energies, when it comes to handling certain situations, humans can handle very little. And that is why this particular soul chose an animal form to come back in this family, is because that extra sense was needed to complete the life purpose that the soul had.
There's
Beautiful, Sakshi, beautiful. I mean, that, opens up so many other angles to the
Yeah.
whole system of creation.
humans have become adulterated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, I just wanted to tell you, but this is a very vast topic. We can keep it for some time, sometime later. That even there is a soul theory. There is a whole theory about soul theory. That what is soul, and this was related to Plato. Plato, who was a great philosopher, he talked about soul theory.
Yeah.
So there's an entire discussion about soul theory, where soul exists or not, what are the contradictions and all those things. But I don't want to go into that right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sakshi. Thank you.
Anybody has
Huge way.
anybody has something to interject at this point of time before we close the session formally?
I think there was an experiment done on plant growth, and one was the two group of plant, they were exposed. One was some kind of noise, another was some classical music.
Yeah.
And the growth was much higher in plants exposed to the classical music. So there is some scientific evidence that actually plants do have some feeling.
Those are frequencies, ma'am. Like how we played a frequency to neutralize our energy. So look at it this way, okay? So when we enter, everyone's energy was probably like this, okay? And when we played that frequency, everyone's energy neutralized, right? So that is how that I know what that experiment that you're talking about. One was, one group was exposed to really loud and very rock
Like
music,
a rock, yes,
very
rock,
soft,
yes.
very classical music. So yeah, so again, frequencies.
Amazing. So if everybody, with everybody's permission, I shall stop the recording. But Sakshi, please do not go. I will have a question, presently not exactly related, although not completely unrelated also. I'm stopping the recording for the time being. Sakshi, you may just stay for a moment.
Yeah.